Every hour, an estimated 6 families move to Las Vegas, and that's faster than we can build roads, schools, or even find enough doctors for. It might sound like a jackpot story, but the real truth is hiding in plain sight, and it's not what you think. The part that nobody tells you is the part that you need to know before you move here, and that's what you're going to discover in this video, so let's dive in. Las Vegas is in the middle of a building boom we have not seen since the early 2000s. And you can really feel it everywhere in the skyline, in the neighborhoods, even simply driving around town. On the Strip, the Fontainebleau has finally opened after almost 20 years of sitting in limbo. A $3.7 billion resort that completely reshaped the skyline and brought thousands of new jobs with it. Then you got the Sphere, a $2.3 billion venue that has completely reinvented live entertainment here. If you haven't been or seen it in person, trust me, it's like nothing else on earth, and it's drawing a ton of attention. But here's what makes this moment very different. The growth is beyond what's happening on the Strip. The entire valley is transforming right in front of us. It's definitely very noticeable for someone who's lived here most of their lives. Take Summerlin, for example. It keeps pushing west, and now you've got the villages like Grand Park coming online. This is the payoff of 35 years of careful master planning. Those are more than just houses stacked on lots. They're full communities with parks, trails, and amenities that honestly feel like you're living in a resort. I've shown homes in these new neighborhoods, and the buyers are usually pretty stunned, not only by the proximity to the mountains, but everything that you see with the parks and the quality. There's a lot of detail going on here. Henderson is also booming, especially in places like Inspirada and Cadence. Station Casinos even got the green light for a 201-room resort and a 58,000 square foot casino in Inspirada, aiming for completion by 2029. When companies pour money into projects like that, they're betting on a big city future. Over in the Southwest, Uncommons wrapped up construction in 2025. That is a massive $800 million project that spreads across 40 acres. It has 500,000 square feet of offices and more than 830 apartments and 90,000 square feet of shops and restaurants. The tenants are names like DraftKings and CBRE. There's also something to keep in mind. At this level of growth, it ties directly back into the rise in cost of living that we're going to dive into next. But here's a side that nobody really brags about. This kind of growth puts serious pressure on our infrastructure, and a drive that once took 15 minutes can now take 30. This is especially true during busy times like, near the major resort corridors or on the highways. Clark County alone added nearly 123,000 new residents in the past 4 years. That's like dropping an entire small city in a valley that was really relatively small just 4 years ago. Homes and businesses are rising quickly, but roads, water systems, and power grids are having trouble keeping up. Everywhere you look, there is construction. We have a tendency to joke here in Las Vegas that our Nevada state flower is a construction cone. And with that comes a lot of dust and noise, lane closures, and even detours that can be difficult to live with. The community itself is shifting greatly. If you've been here more than a decade, you've definitely seen it. Longtime locals often tell me they hardly recognize parts of the city that they grew up in. Now, I'm going to be honest, I find all of this growth really exciting. It brings a lot of energy and new ideas and opportunities that you can't get in slower moving markets. But if you're the type of person who craves stability and predictability, living in a boomtown can be a lot to handle. But here's the twist. The growth that makes the Vegas Valley so vibrant is linked to the key reason why so many people are relocating here, and it's the cost of living. Let's go ahead and talk about that next. Hey, if you're enjoying these sneak peeks into Vegas, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because you won't want to miss what's coming next. So one of the biggest reasons people move to Las Vegas is because of the cost of living. And they're right. Compared to places like California or Washington, New York, your money does go a lot further here. So let's talk about housing. The median home price in Las Vegas sits ballpark around $440,000. Now stack that against Los Angeles's roughly $935,000, or San Francisco, you've got over $1.3 million as a median. The difference is kind of obvious. The fact that Nevada has no state income tax means that high earners can save tens of thousands of dollars a year. And I think that can be a real game changer for a lot of families who are looking for strategy. Many people are moving from California, Washington, and New York, and they're surprised to see how much more home they can get over here versus where they live. In Las Vegas, a budget that barely covers a small property in coastal markets can get you a very nice, spacious home, oftentimes with a lot more bedrooms. And the contrast in value is one of the biggest reasons people are choosing Las Vegas right now. But here's what doesn't get mentioned enough. There are hidden costs of living in Las Vegas, and they can sneak up on newcomers. Property taxes are definitely lower compared to many states, but homeowners associations are definitely everywhere. And sometimes you're going to be paying multiple fees. In larger luxury communities, they can go up to 3 times more than what you would normally be. So sometimes you'll have one fee for larger communities, another for your specific neighborhood, and then sometimes even a third for shared amenities. In luxury areas, I've seen these fees go well over $500 a month. Utilities are another surprise. Summers are definitely hot, and when you're cooling a bigger house in July or August, the bill can easily climb up to $400. The average July electric bill in Las Vegas is about $250 a month. That's nearly double the cost of living in a more moderate temperature states. I've seen it happen plenty of times, even in newer homes with efficient systems. We're going to definitely dive into the climate here later, and you're going to see why those utility bill spikes are so dramatic in the summer. Insurance costs are definitely rising, especially in areas next to open desert land. Companies are adjusting their risk models as the valley expands, and then there's a lifestyle factor. Living in Las Vegas means world-class restaurants, shows, golf, and shopping just a few minutes away. It's incredibly tempting, but it's also easy to overspend without even realizing it. The Las Vegas lifestyle can definitely be fun, but if you're not careful, it can take a big toll on your budget. So yes, on paper, Las Vegas comes out ahead of the big metros, but when you add in all those hidden costs, the gap isn't always as wide as it first looks. And this leads us to something you can't ignore, the environment itself. Because when you live in the desert, the climate and water supply change everything about how you live day to day. Las Vegas sits on a tough environment. Let me tell you, you may not notice all the challenges until you experience all 4 seasons here. The first thing everyone notices is definitely going to be the heat. It's hot. And I don't mean the kind of hot you feel in a summer day back east. I'm talking about 115 degrees in the afternoons, and you can definitely burn your hands on the steering wheel if you forget a sunshade. From June through September, you're going to notice a rhythm of a city change. Outdoor activities happen early in the morning or late in the evening. Midday, people move quickly in between air-conditioned cars, homes, and offices. The other challenge is definitely the water. Las Vegas gets about 4 inches of rain in an average year, making it one of the driest cities in America. About 90% of our water comes from the Colorado River through Lake Mead, which is on the decline. Because of this, we are very conservative about how we use water here. Most homes in the desert are not landscaped. Pool sizes are limited to 600 feet, and decorative grass is being phased out. For people who move from wetter parts of the country, that is a big adjustment. The idea of a large green lawn out front is replaced by desert-friendly yards with drought-resistant plants, drip irrigation, stone, and rock. Done right, these spaces are beautiful, but are going to be very different in contrast if you're used to a lot of greenery. The good news is Las Vegas has become a national leader in water conservation. Since the year 2000, the valley has added more than 750,000 residents, and the total water use has gone down by about 26%. I personally think that's a huge achievement, and it shows how seriously our community takes our water issue. One of my dear friends is a water conservation attorney, and she had moved here to help protect our resources. She says that we have one of the most proactive efforts in comparison to our neighboring states. That, I think, is something to be proud of. All right, so let's talk about my least favorite part of living here, and it is the wind. Spring can bring gusts of over 50 miles an hour or more. Dust storms, they do sweep in, reducing visibility and air quality, and you often forget about them until you are smack dab in the middle of one. Now, I say all of this with a grain of salt. I personally love our climate overall, even with all of its quirks. We get more than 300 days of sunshine a year. Winters are totally mild, with January afternoons often around 60 degrees. I came from Wisconsin and was used to a lot of snow. But living in the desert isn't simply about swapping sweaters for shorts. It means learning to live in extremes. And it's a different rhythm, and you have a different relationship with the environment. It takes some time to get used to. But before we get into more of the challenges of a boomtown, let me tell you what everyday life in Las Vegas is actually like. Spoiler, it's a lot different from the postcards. When people think about Las Vegas, they picture bright lights, poker tables, and weekends on the Strip. But here's the truth. Most locals hardly ever go down there, including myself. It's super rare for me to visit the Strip. When I first moved here, friends from out of town would ask if I was out gambling every weekend or catching shows all the time. But the reality is closer to how New Yorkers feel about Times Square, for example. It's definitely for tourists. Locals might go out for a special night or when family's in town, but from day to day, it's just not a part of our lives. Instead, life in Las Vegas feels a lot more suburban than outsiders may expect. Communities like Summerlin, Green Valley, Inspirada, and Sky Canyon are designed for everyday living. They look and feel like upscale suburbs, something akin to like Arizona or maybe Southern California. These neighborhoods are built around families with parks, community centers, walking trails, and local shopping. They're quiet, well-maintained, and in many ways, very traditional. But living in a 24-hour city does change the way things work. Our traffic doesn't flow in the classic rush hour pattern you may see in most places because so many people work in the hospitality industry and their shifts are starting at all times of the day. The roads can be packed at times you would not expect, like 1 a.m. Try driving on the Strip at midnight on a Friday and you might hit traffic that rivals weekday commutes in Los Angeles. That around-the-clock rhythm filters into everything: restaurant hours, gym crowds, and even when stores are busiest. But honestly, once you get used to everything always being open, going to a city that shuts down is kind of a bummer. I feel spoiled that I can run to the store no matter what time of day and get whatever I need. Now, I have no desire to trade that luxury. However, being on a nonstop rhythm does bleed into bigger challenges that we're going to cover later, like crowded schools and waitlists for doctors, so stick around. Something else that surprises our newcomers is how dependent Las Vegas is on cars. Yes, we have buses and a limited rail system, but public transit mainly serves the tourists. For most residents, it isn't a realistic substitute for driving. The good news is the city is laid out on a local grid, so once you get the hang of it, navigation can be pretty straightforward. The daily needs for groceries, restaurants, gyms, medical offices are almost always within a short drive from your home. I know I can get anywhere within a 30-minute period or less. I barely ever check the driving time. I just plan ahead and leave 30 minutes before my appointment unless I know it's rush hour time, or if I'm going somewhere really far like the Northwest from the Southwest. What really, I think, one of the specialist things about living in Las Vegas is how close you are to the incredible outdoor experiences. In less than an hour, you can be at Red Rock Canyon, Lake Mead, Mount Charleston, or the Valley of Fire. Those spots offer everything from hiking and climbing to boating, skiing, or even taking in amazing views. I love showing clients these places because so many have no idea how much natural beauty is right next to the city. It's like having several national park quality landscapes right in your backyard. Even our food scene has grown far beyond the famous buffets that I grew up with. Las Vegas has become a destination for dining. We have restaurants here that rival New York, LA, and Chicago. You'll find celebrity chefs on the Strip, but what's really exciting is the local variety we have tucked into our neighborhoods, like Chinatown and Spring Valley, for example, from authentic Asian cuisine to hidden gems serving food from all over the world. There is something here for every palate. Legit, the best ramen in the country is on Spring Mountain. The rapid growth in Las Vegas definitely creates opportunity, but it also creates trade-offs that everyone moving to Las Vegas should have a full understanding of. As more people arrive, competition for services has grown across the board. Schools that were once easy to get into now have waiting lists, and some of the best charter and private schools here are full months in advance. And healthcare facilities are definitely facing similar strains. Las Vegas has historically fewer doctors per resident than many other cities. and the population boom has only made that gap wider. The city is responding with new hospitals and medical centers, and UNLV Medical School is expanding that pipeline for new physicians. Specialty centers like Cleveland Clinic or the Lou Revo Center for Brain Health are raising the standard of care here, but honestly, we have a lot of catching up to do in terms of quality and capacity. Schools are going to tell a similar story. Clark County runs the 5th largest school district in the country, and the quality can vary dramatically from one neighborhood to the next, so it's important you do your research. Some of the newer schools and master plan communities can be excellent, but they're often on a lottery system. That makes your choice of neighborhood even more important when you've got kids, because the school zoning can directly impact your options. Economically, we are definitely expanding our growth. We are not just in hospitality anymore. Technology, healthcare, manufacturing, and professional services have been expanding. Companies like Switch, Amazon, and Zappos have made big investments here, and the tech scene is growing in areas like data centers and gaming software. That diversification is definitely a good thing, and it will mean the job market can feel a little bit more stable now. Housing costs definitely reflect that boom. While prices here are still lower than in coastal cities, affordability is definitely tightened. The median home price has climbed significantly in the most recent years. That has been great for homeowners, but tough for first-time homebuyers. Rental rates have gone up as well. This leads to what I call the boomtown trade-off. Great energy, opportunity, growth, amazing shopping and restaurants, but it also means facing challenges of a city growing faster than its systems can handle. For some, the excitement outweighs the frustration, and for others, the pace of all this change can feel kind of overwhelming. In Las Vegas, neighborhoods can change fast. A spot that felt ignored 5 years ago might be a new trendy area with new schools and shops. And that's why local knowledge matters so much when you're trying to decide where to live. At the end of the day, Las Vegas is a city in motion. It is constantly reinventing itself, something I kind of love. For many people, it's important to see both sides of the boom, the opportunities and the challenges. This is why I want you to know what you're getting into. And that brings us to the big picture, what all of this means if you're considering to make Las Vegas your next move. So there you have it. Las Vegas is absolutely booming. The city is alive with energy, new opportunities, and exciting growth. But with that momentum definitely comes trade-offs that you really need to understand before you pack up and move here. Development is reshaping communities, but it also stretches our road, utilities, and even the sense of familiarity for long-term locals. The cost of living in Las Vegas is a huge advantage compared to other coastal markets, but those savings can shrink once you factor in HOA fees, high summer power bills, and the temptations of living in a city that's built for entertainment. But our climate offers over 300 sunny days and mild winters. However, that summer heat can be intense. Plus, permanent water conservation rules shift how people view their homes and yards. Day-to-day life here feels far more suburban than most outsiders expect. It's about community pools, local restaurants, and not casino pools or nightclubs. Our rapid growth brings competition for schools, doctors, and even parking spots. For some, the constant change can feel very overwhelming. For many, this is what makes Las Vegas really exciting. Personally, I believe Las Vegas is one of the most dynamic cities in America right now. There is a sense of optimism here and possibility, but making the most of it means stepping in with clear eyes. The best way to do that is to spend time here before you move. Not only weekends on the Strip, but real time in the neighborhoods. Visit in July or August so that you know what you're getting into with real summers here. Drive around on a regular Tuesday afternoon in the suburbs to see what traffic is actually like. Eat at local restaurants or walk through grocery stores. Experience what life here actually feels like. So after all of this, if you're still thinking about buying or selling here in Las Vegas, don't try to piece it all together by yourself. I'm here for you. Send me an email at Kristin@yourluxurypro.com and let's talk about your goals. I'll help you cut through the noise and find the right neighborhoods that make sure your move is a smart investment for your future. If you found this helpful, make sure you stick around for my next video. I'm showing you some surprising communities in Las Vegas that many people do overlook, yet they hold the city's deepest roots of wealth. You won't want to miss this one. Until the next video, take care, and I'll see you soon.